Hi guys, my name is Lil. My name is Lizelle from Lizelle Loves Books. Before I start with the recommendations today, I just wanted to thank you for the 3 of you who subscribed to my channel. And for today's video, I'm going to give you my recommendations for enemies to lovers. My first book I'm going to recommend to you is by Sarah J. Maas. It's the second book in her A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's her second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series. It's called A Court of Mist and Fury. Because, of course, I'm going to recommend a Sarah J. Maas book. She's like one of my favorite authors. I talked about the first book in my fantasy romance recommendations video, but for this book, since it's enemies to lovers, I'm gonna talk about book 2, A Court of Mist and Fury. The events in this book is Farrah survives the events in book 1, but she made a deal with Raylan. She made a deal with Raylan at the end of that book, and now she has to carry it out. She's been having these dreams, like nightmare dreams. What happens is she kind of splits herself in two. One part of her stays with the Raylan's group, the other one stays with Tamlin's. And she's kind of weary about the Night Court because Tamlin is telling her all these negative things about them, like their bad faith, and they just really have a bad reputation. But as Farrah gets to know Raylan and his crew, she begins to realize that, maybe they're not so bad. 'Cause she discovers, secrets along the way. And everything is not what it seems about the Night Court. And maybe what she's been told is a lie. So at first she's very guarded with Reyes because he's from the Night Court. But there's that enemy's aspect changes to and then eventually by the end of the book she's conflicted. What's she gonna do? Is she gonna marry Tamlin? 'Cause she's feeling this pull towards Reyes. So that's a fantasy romance recommendation for you of enemies to lovers. A Court of Mist and Fury. What's Farrah gonna do? Is she going to stay with Tamlin or be with the Reyes? Of course, I know what she does because I've read the book, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I encourage you, please read the book. The second book I'm going to recommend to you is Twisted Hate by Ana Huang. And the main characters we have for that is Jules and Josh. It's a best friend's brother romance. And basically, Jules and Josh start off at the wrong foot. They meet each other and they just get a bad impression from each other. Josh thinks Jules is a bad influence on his sister, and she tells her that they met when the girls were in college. Jules was his sister's college roommate, and basically Josh tells his sister, "Can you have other friends?" And Jules hears that, and she immediately does not like him. But then fast forward years, fast forward to a conversation they're having, his sister and her boyfriend want to go on a ski trip, and they invited Josh and Jules. So, and they were like, for the sake of this trip, let's call a truce. So they spend time together on that ski trip. Their feelings start towards each other, start to thaw, because I think Jules gets cramps and Josh is the one to take care of her. That's when the story starts to change. And then another turning point is when they end up working at the same hospital for some reason. Jules is studying to be a lawyer and Josh is in med school. I forgot why she works at the hospital. But one night they get really drunk and frustrated, and they were like, "Hey, let's make a deal just for us to have a physical relationship." So they get intimate, and it gets pretty hot and heavy between them. But they were like, our relationship is purely physical. There's no feelings involved. It doesn't have to change anything. But of course we know how that turns out. It's slow burn in a sense, they don't get to the it's not slow burn in the physical aspect, but it's slow burn in a sense that they don't get to the I love you part until somewhere in the third act of the book. So yeah, it's called Twisted Hate by Ana Huang. I suggest you read that one and the first one, so you get more of a background information, on them, more of the history between them. The third book I'm going to recommend for this video is Kiss the Sky by I said their name wrong. Krista and Becca Ricci. It's about this girl who's from a billionaire family. Like, she goes to the top school, I think in Princeton, and she wants to be a clothing designer. But there's all these rumors about her, because if her sister is a sex addict, so there's all this rumors about her too. So one day she gets approached by this movie producer, like, hey, let's film a reality show to show people the real you. So she reluctantly agrees, but during the reality show, they pair her up with a boy from school, Connor Cobalt, who's also a mega rich billionaire. And Rose thinks he's domineering and arrogant, but they reluctantly agree to be in a fake relationship for the sake of the cameras. And she doesn't want to do it, but her fashion career is on the line. So she said, okay, I'll pretend to be your girlfriend. And so they begin the relationship. But what she doesn't know is Connor has always found Rose to be interesting. So it's sort of enemies on her side, but not to his side. He's always had like a curiosity. Connor has always had a curiosity about Rose. My last book I want to recommend is a new one that I read recently. It's called 5 Rounds by Nikki Castle. The main characters are Remy and Tristan. Remy gets evicted from her apartment, and she can't get into her new one for like 3 weeks. So her best friend Jax offers her his room for her to stay in, because he's going away on a business trip. but that means she has to live with Jax's roommate Tristan, and she thinks all she thinks about him in the beginning is he's a playboy. He doesn't take anything seriously except for his MMA. This is an MMA book. But as you know, they start spending time together in the same apartment. And one day, Tristan sticks up for Remy's sister because she was being treated badly by her boyfriend, and that kind of starts to change Remy's mind about Tristan. Yeah, that's a good book. It's steamy. Like the other books I mentioned. Like, there's a lot of steam in these books. Except for A Court of Mist and Fury. Yeah. But the only thing that was annoying for me in 5 rounds was the third act breakup. Miscommunication is always like an for me, but I would still really recommend this book. That's it for my recommendations. I want to thank these 3 people who subscribe to my channel. I just want to say thank you again. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Comment below what are your favorite enemies to lovers books. Maybe you write down some that I haven't heard of yet. So comment, like, and subscribe. Bye.